What do they do to
Give
Mistweaver?
me a sec. It's not that bad. It's not great, but it's not that bad.
Yeah, no
Have you
sandbagging, Meg.
guns yet?
I'm ramping.
It's not that bad, guys.
Maybe it is. I was just
Yo,
saying
we're
that.
dying.
20 million dishes. Come on.
All healers?
So during the raid testing, Mistweaver was underperforming, but the raid testing itself wasn't super useful towards the end, as a lot of the polls were about a minute 30 or less. Due to the previous set of testing, I had basically already decided that I would not be bringing my Mistweaver to Prague when there's just better options available. I thought maybe with a few changes there would be a chance, but now, I don't know what we would need to be competitive. Maybe a 20 to 25% aura buff, or major changes on things like Rising Mist function. The Dummy Dome is a new testing instance on PTR that allows you to test various situations, one of them being this healer dummy that deals increasing damage over time and then it will die at 5 minutes. For this testing, I was told to use vendor gear, so that is what I had on. I didn't do any crafting and I only used the things available on the vendors. We also agreed not to use any broken or overtuned trinkets or embellishments, specifically the ritual vessel, just for testing's sake. There ended up being a slight variance on what people actually came in with, but ultimately, I don't think that those things were responsible for the crime that was Mistweaver healing. It contributed a little bit, but there's still some very obvious major issues that Mistweaver has. The main point of this test was to get a better idea of what can actually push up health bars, and it's not Mistweaver. So what the hell happened? We had an excellent tier in Voidspire and in March on quel'danas, and now we're doing 40% less than the strongest healers on PTR. That's an insane fall off. It might have something to do with the fact that Mistweaver caught a 3% aura nerf on one week, and then a 7% aura nerf the next week, with a lot of the focus being put on our mastery, which, surprisingly, didn't pan out after the 60% nerf to Morning Breeze. We also lose our Season 1 tier set, which is estimated to be around 15% of our HPS, and we've just received nothing but nerfs to most of our kit, with the mastery buffs not positively impacting us or interacting with the dominant raid playstyle. I tried a couple of builds in this testing. I tried a Chi with high mastery, a Chi build with more normal stat distributions, and a Yulon build, which is very similar to what we've been playing. These numbers were pretty much the same, and Chi, as expected, felt awful to play. During the testing with Chi, I ended up not pressing much outside of Rising Sun Kick, Tiger Palm, and Blackout Kick to try to fish for a Rising Sun Kick reset. Rising Sun Kick is our highest priority button, especially with a Jadefire Teachings build, but everything else was an HPS loss. Renewing Mist, Vivify, Enveloping, none of it was as impactful as Rising Sun Kick. So the main gameplay loop is just trying to get as many resets on that as you can. This is very similar to the Liberation of Undermine gameplay, and we've talked that tier to death and why it was bad for the spec. Keep in mind that this is also with 100% melee uptime on the dummy, which will not happen on actual raid bosses. The raid bosses in the Venomous Abyss have high movement and some forced downtime. Chi itself as a cooldown felt okay. You could see a health bars move when you spent your Blackout Kick and when you used Rising Sun Kick, but that's about the extent of positive things that I have to say about this build. For Yulon builds, without our Season 1 4-piece, our renewing miss count stayed significantly lower, anywhere from 12 to 15 on average, when we're used to getting so many more. The gameplay for this build is fine. It's basically the same as it has been since Mana Forge Omega, but the numbers are just not there anymore. I think the most disappointing part of the Yulon build is our cooldowns. Yulon itself does not feel like a cooldown. When you use it, it looks like you're doing a lot of healing, but then you look at the meters and your logs and realize that you're not doing much more than your regular non-cooldown window. You're just burning more mana. Along the same vein, revival is an embarrassment. It should not be considered a cooldown. One revival press on a 3-minute cooldown does about 675,000 healing. Not HPS, healing. That's not even one health bar on one player. That this is getting out-healed by things like the Omnium Folio, Healing Elixir, Yulon's Grace, Silent Sanctuary, and Chi Warding. You might not even know what some of those are because they're passives in the class tree, but it's doing more healing than our 3-minute cooldown. Celestial Conduit is in kind of the same bucket. It does like less than 3% of our overall healing, and I know that it does facilitate additional healing through cooldown reduction, but the healing that you get from Conduit itself is still really minimal. It honestly feels really similar to how it felt coming into this expansion, with the Midnight Beta and the early Midnight days being pretty disappointing and concerning, but that was largely due to bugs. This time it is a tuning issue, and we're getting uncomfortably close to launch. This is the second tier of the expansion, so we do not have a heroic week this time. And at the time of my recording, we are about 10 days off of patch day. That does not leave a lot of time for tuning or for further testing. I really hope that I've jumped the gun on this video and that there will be additional changes coming that help make the aura nerfs make sense, but I'm honestly at a bit of a loss for this. We always talk about how Mistweaver is a throughput healer, and because it doesn't bring much outside of throughput, it does need to be one of the higher or the highest healing. And that has actually been accurate for most tiers. Since Dragonflight, we've had a really good run. I'm hoping not to see it stop here, so I'm really hoping that there will be additional changes. I will have my Mistweaver for keys still. I don't think that it's the best in keys. I think it's pretty mid-pack in keys, but that has not stopped me before. And then as far as raid goes, I do plan on playing Resto Shaman and Paladin, with my monk probably just being like a late farm character to bring unless something else changes. Honestly, what this set of testing felt like was that Mistweaver was stuck in Season 1, and every other healer was allowed to go forward into Season 2.